and welcome to Miracle English Language and Literature Institute. I'm Professor Abha Sharma, and here I'm doing a video on intertextuality on request of some of you. So let's begin with what is intertextuality. Inter, the relation between two texts. See, when we grow up, while growing up, we all are made to read whatever is there in this world in form of books, in form of stories, in form of poems, mythological stories, and we hear so many things which are already there, present, written. So these things, these stories, these characters, they get embedded in our brain. And when we grow up, these texts, these characters, these little things, these plots which are already there in our brain, the subconscious effect of these things make us reproduce them. They precipitate again in our writing. Intertextuality. The poets, the scholars in the past have written so much. And today, we are again and again using the same, writing the same in different forms, in different texts, using different vocabulary, a slight change in the plot. See, the Greeks wrote great plays about Oedipus, about Antigone, and so many others like Odyssey, Iliad, and these plots you will find in the new books also, new plots also. Although the names are changed, they are used in the form of allusions or allegory or metaphorical language, simile. They are being personified, and all these figures of speech, they help you to interconnect with different texts. As I have already mentioned in my last video, eco-criticism, that Chaucer, he starts his pilgrimage along with the other pilgrims in the month of April. The same is being used by T.S. Eliot, that April is the cruelest month. That means he's taking a reference from Chaucer and using in his text. That is intertextuality. Now, this poem, Wasteland, is full of such references from the past writers, great poets. The whole script is based on the previous poets. When he had written it, he had sent it to Ezra Pound for editing, and Ezra Pound said that he could not get even a single line. So it was given back to Eliot. Eliot wrote all the references and then gave his script to Pound to evaluate. So you will find that there are lines, "Sweet themes run softly till I end my song." And this is from Edmund Spenser's Epithalamion. Then in the end, of course, you find the references from our Upanishads and Vedas when he says about the three concepts of data, dadavam, and damyata. A writer cannot write in isolation, and a writer needs to be a very good reader first. He should have the knowledge of the tradition of writing. Therefore, when he writes his own text, he takes the allusions, he takes the quotations, he quotes the previous or the contemporary poets in order to explain his meaning. Therefore, intertextuality is best understood by saying that a text in a text. Julia KRISTEVA is said to be the last great public intellectual.
Professor KRISTEVA has altered the way that we think about so many different issues. She's altered the very terms of so many different disciplines: anthropology, ethics, philosophy. I could go on and name a number. Professor KRISTEVA, the late Tony Judt referred to you as one of the last great public intellectuals.
To answer if I feel like the last big, I suppose, public intellectual. Let me say that I suppose it's a compliment.
Absolutely.
And it seems to me that you speak about somebody else. It's very difficult for me to recognize myself in this compliment, if it is.
She says that the concept of intertextuality is to find a better understanding of a text by relating it to the text which are mentioned consciously or unconsciously. This is a modern way of evaluating or appreciating a text. Now, whenever a reader comes across a new text, his prior knowledge of the subject, language, and so many other factors, they all help him to understand that particular text. So intertextuality helps him to discover the depths of that text. A new writer borrows the concepts from the older text.
Is that my identity is very multiple. I'm from Bulgarian origin, French citizen, I'll say European nationality, and I say very often that I'm in American adoption.
There are three types of intertextuality: obligatory, optional, and accidental. Obligatory. Obligatory means compulsory. A reader is expected to know all the prior text, past text, because their references are there when he is reading the new text. So to make the understanding better, he needs to read whatever is already there. For example, if I say that I need those three wishes to grant and fulfill my wishes, so to whomever I'm saying, the person should have the prior knowledge of the text of Macbeth, the story of Macbeth, where he can understand who the three witches are. Otherwise, he will not be able to get me. Therefore, optional means compulsory. And this compulsory, obligatory intertextuality, it makes the reader perfect. Therefore, he has to spend hours in reading whatever is already there in this world. The second one is optional. This is a critic's faculty. Critics, he tries to find out some intertextual references on his own. Sometimes even the writer has not been aware of what he's written, but the critic finds out that he's more towards this, or he's written the text, he's taken the references from a particular text. Accidental. Accidental is totally a subconscious faculty, and it is present in all the writers because they've grown up reading, they've grown up listening to the various plots, characters, stories of the past. So automatically they are precipitated in his writing. He cannot help but to keep writing. He himself is not aware of that. So again, it is also the readers pointing to the particular reference or intertextual comment. KRISTEVA, she gave this term intertextuality in order to explain Ferdinand de Saussure's the concept of signs, that how signs interpret meanings, and also Bhaktin's heteroglossia, I'll do a separate video on this. Donald Barthes is against this intertextuality. He is often called as anti-intertextual critic. There are two terms, intertextuality and intratextuality. Intertextuality means the references of the two different texts. It is the external reference. And intratextuality is something inside the text. The part of the same text, they refer to each other. That is called intra. This is the difference between inter and intratextuality. Julia KRISTEVA is not so fluent in English, as she herself mentions that English is not her mother tongue. Still, she has given a clear concept of intertextuality. I hope this will help you to get an understanding of intertextuality. The rest in detail you can read, but at least you have come to know about the concept of intertextuality. If you like my effort, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Also explore our website www.miraclewebstore.com. Until I make a next video, keep in touch. Take care.
I want to say something as an apology to our audience. My English is a very primitive one. And yes, and I feel very handicapped in speaking English because I don't think in English. I have to use a quite modest knowledge of this language in order to answer questions.